We were live. We can't figure out how we got back. I mean, there's no problem here.
Ask if they can see us now.
Can you see us now? Cannot see. Okay. Yeah. All right, we're having. I will try to figure that out. Okay. Okay, go back to live. Don't AWOL.
The son of a bitch started up and then just quit. Goes to that.
Well, since live streaming. I think. Wait a minute. Okay, go to create stream. It's not popping back up yet.
Before it started doing that.
Maybe, well, I know you downloaded Windows 11, but I don't know, maybe it needs... YouTube Studio? No, I didn't make it. Okay, good. Oh, we're live stream.
Finally.
You see us? Anything now? Oh, wait a minute, let's see the picture.
See, it came on for a second, that went off.
Hang on a second. Okay, our picture live.
Okay, we should be...
Here, hit that, not, no, right here, right. Okay, picture live.
Okay, we should be...
Here, hit that, not, no, right here, right. Yeah.
Mute back off, because we don't want to get the feedback. Okay.
We're not
For some reason or other, it just didn't want to click. It took 3 or 4 clicks to get it to go to the whatchamacallit.
Yeah,
So
we're recording because we heard ourselves talk.
Can they hear us now?
Have you found us yet?
According to this, we're broadcasting. We're live.
Video output low. Oh, wait a minute. Why is it output low here?
What's low?
It said video output low, but why is that? Why is that?
Okay. Now that's a new one on me.
Well, we got a low output video notice here, so we're not.
Like that there.
Oh, it shows 2 people watching.
Yeah, so somebody we're being.
Oh, you found us.
Oh, I'm fine. Okay. Okay, those 2 of you are out there. If you're that can hear us on the chat room, give us a heads up.
Found us. Okay. Okay.
That can hear us on the chat room, give us. All
right. Thank you. Yes.
Sounds and video good. Okay, this up.
There it is.
It says cannabis.
Oh, there it is.
Cannabis sound and video good. So that means just whatever. So,
we're being.
So we're getting the chat.
And hear us in the background here with Wonder One. Oh. All right. I guess we'll go on with the show then. Thank you. All right. Talk to you later. Okay. Okay. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Where was he calling from?
Wonderborn.
Oh.
He had us, he lost us, but now he has us now.
Well, see, it came up, and about as fast as it came up, it went off. You know what I mean? Well, whatever.
The video output, okay, now we're on the Firewatch. Okay.
Yeah.
It says video output low.
Yeah, well, whatever that means. And, I don't know how to change it. I ain't gonna worry about it. Okay, we try this again.
Oh, that's gonna sound.
You're listening to Braveheart. Quirk yourself.
Quark.
I was gonna get to that. Kathy is home. She come home Thursday morning or Thursday afternoon, and she went with me to the gun show both days this week. And this weekend she did rather well. She did better in the gun show, and I put that show on. But after talking to several dealers at the show, it seems that all the shows so far this fall that have been coming on have been poorly attended and people are not buying. With the situation going on in our politics in this country, you should be buying. And you should be going to the shows to get what you need rather than going to a store and having to sign your life away. You need to go start going to the gun shows to pick up that magazine, get that box of ammo, or buy that AR-15, which I don't have the letter, so I'm not going to go into it, but I'm going to try by next weekend to get the copy of. Bill, did you say you got that email about the?
Yeah, I got something about it. Yeah.
Well, why don't you see if you can forward it to my email address, and then
I have your email address.
Well, we can take care of that right off now. Because another guy was going to send it to me. Yeah, no, that's the old one.
I'm bouncing back.
Okay, I'm sorry I can't talk and write at the same time. But anyway,
Okay.
see if you can send that on through to me. He was sending me one this afternoon, but it didn't get there when I checked at 5:30 because I wanted to use it tonight. But we'll have it for try to have it for next week. And anyway, yeah, with these so-called I know what I want to say, but oh well. This is a non-centered show. We don't have a delay from when I say it until it goes over the air. So these sons of bitches in Washington.
Not fast enough. The censor button.
Oh shit! There's another one that got away from us. He's in Pennsylvania somewhere.
Who? Winterborn?
Yeah, Winterborn. Okay.
8
Yeah.
miles.
Yeah. So,
Oh, mile marker is 16 on I-80.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's just shortly.
Right.
That's not far. That's,
Wait a minute. First, what's that say? Oh, oh.
yeah.
Well, I know I-80 could be another one, but anyway.
Yeah. So, anyway.
Somewhere. Which interstate you on there, Winterborn?
He says he's calling from I-80, 16 minutes into
No,
Pennsylvania.
oh no, I-80 mile marker. 16. Okay.
Yeah, give us a
So
mile.
he's in Mercer County.
Yeah. And so,
Yeah.
anywho's
He's
it?
I-80 there.
Yeah, Kathy come home. They finally decided it was the failure of the medication. That it finally, she'd been on it for a while, and her system became too used to it, or her problem
Oh.
became too used to it, and it quit working. Okay.
Adjusted to
So they put her on some other stuff, and she appears to be doing quite well, and that. So now, I know it sounds like we might be jumping around a little bit, but we got ants in our pants or something like that. It's getting cold, and all the ants are coming in. It's getting chilly outside, and the ants are all coming in. Yeah, the show was not well attended today or yesterday. I didn't do very well off the tables. Of course, being that I was putting it on, didn't do very well at attendance, so my share of the attendance wasn't very nice or big. I think between the sales of what I sold off my tables and what I took in at the gate, and maybe enough to pay 1/4, or maybe it's 1/5 of the $2,500 or thereabouts that I owe on property tax. So, but we have 3 gun shows in a row coming up, and then I have a small break, and then we have 2 in a row, and then 1. So by the time January or February get here, or February and May get here, I should have enough money in my pocket to finish paying them off if I haven't, and start on next year's taxes. Because we get if your taxes are paid up, you get depending on your income, you get a rebate.
Wow.
Okay. I don't want to call it a rebate. It's a refund. Discount.
Yeah, because I just paid my mother's estate tax last month.
Yeah.
Oh.
So anyway, yeah, depending on your income, you get up to $600 back off your property tax, but that don't come until July. And at the beginning of the year, the school board gets paid directly because of the Homestead Act. They get paid, I think it's $250 directly to the school board. So if they keep your taxes from going up, but the only problem is that was instituted about 5 years ago, and my taxes have still continually gone up. So the $250 that they're paying has been run over by another $250. So it didn't help. But I saw in the local paper that come January the 1st, those of us that are on Social Security will get a 1.6% pay increase. Now, I read the article, but nothing in the article said anything about Medicare going up. Okay.
It'll go at 1.7%.
Yeah.
Sure.
So maybe, just maybe, if that's the case, after I missed out on the last 3 or 4 increases because it was sucked up by Medicare, that means I might see $10.
Hey, the helicopter. I think it's the medivac.
Yeah. Chopper incoming! Ah!
I don't think it's the
Quick, man the ACAC!
FBI or ATF SWAT team.
For those of you who don't understand what ACAC is, it's an anti-aircraft gun. And,
noisy as hell.
Yeah. It comes in several different flavors, too.
Only they used to. Well, some places still have them.
Bright. Winterborn just crossed 79 is what he was telling us.
Okay, he's going eastbound.
Well, I don't know where you were. It was 20 this morning, but it was frosting up here. So that means it was at least 32.
Yeah, we had 32 this morning about, let's see, what time I looked at, about 7. I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
No, 6:45 when I checked with mom, it was 32 degrees. So we got frost.
Obama needs to go back in limelight for the gun sales to go up. Well, there is some scuttlebutt that they're talking about Michelle, okay, Mr. Michelle.
Mr. Michael.
Yeah, Mr. Michael, and Hildebeest teaming up. So
Heaven help us.
I think what Hillary is doing is waiting until everybody kills themselves off. on a Democratic ticket, and then she's going to jump in at the last moment, and because then that way she don't have to spend all that campaign
she's
money.
the VP to Michelle, a.k.a. Michael, or the VP to Pocahontas. They win, they get sworn in, and Mike / Michelle or Pocahontas somehow die unexpectedly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fall down a flight of steps and break.
Oh, we wouldn't do that. Well, we're a civilized country. We wouldn't kill our president.
Choke on a chicken bone or something.
Yeah. Accidentally swallowed a chicken bone or shot herself in the foot while she was cleaning her gun.
The bullet ricocheted out and hit her.
Yeah. Being it was in the White House in the concrete floor.
Oh well.
Oh well. Yeah.
There's still a shooting range in the basement.
What's that?
There had been a shooting range in the basement of the White House somewhere.
I'm not sure. I think there was. I know when Teddy Roosevelt was president, he had a rifle range right there beside the White House on the, was it the East Lawn?
Oh, that'd take off a lot of people today.
Yeah. I often wished I could become president because then I would go down and I'd be like Teddy Roosevelt and I'd put a rifle range on the East Lawn.
That one missed the backstop. That protester, okay.
Yeah. So, and I don't know what I did with my list of gun shows. Oh, I got them. Oh, here it is. No, that ain't them. Oh, no, that ain't them.
You leave them at the house?
Where'd they go?
I bet you left them at the house.
Are they over there?
Now that was,
No, you want over there, not over there. There's only one place you could be, and that's behind that pooter here.
oh, I don't see them.
Don't see him. All right, who ate my gun show list? Well, in that case, I can only tell you, folks, what's coming up next week, since I don't know where the list went, and that's Rocky Grove Fire Hall down in Franklin, PA. And so anyhow, Scuttlebutt has it that
That's your Rocky Grove one.
that's the Rocky Grove one, but there should have been about 5 or 6 more.
Don't see them.
Anyhow, Pocahontas has done an about face. She, a couple years ago at a rally, when the question of the LGBTMICKEY club came out, wanted to know if she thought the taxpayer should pay for pay for sex changes for the transgenders. And she said no. Okay, that was fine. I go along with that. Now, just here at a rally, just here the last 2 weeks, she came out and said, yes, the taxpayer should pay for sex change for transgenders.
Whichever way the political winds blow, they bend.
Yeah. What you want to hear is what they're going to tell you. So anyway, did I say Portland, Oregon is banning urinals in public, not public buildings, but private, public buildings.
Yeah, the government buildings.
Government buildings. So, banning urinals, it means the plainers have to go and do the sitting job while the sinners are sitting. The sinners? The sitters are sitting. Me, I happen to be a pointer. Shit. It's so stupid and shit out there. And I don't know. I may sound like I'm wired up. I am. My voice is failing me. But even though the gun show was not very good, I am still in guillotine. I'm sorry. It's not guillotine, it's guillotine. Guillotine. Do that again. Guillotine off of his head.
We should do that for all the traders someday.
Yeah, well, here years ago, we did a story where the government bought 10,000 guillotines. Okay, so they're stockpiled somewhere. Probably down in New Orleans.
Let's start using them on a bunch of traders here.
Yeah, socialist.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute, you gotta watch that when you're talking about traders. That don't leave very many people left in Washington, D.C. Oops, did I say that?
Well, it's past time to clean house down here anyway.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Draining the swamp is not working, so that means we have to come in there and fill it in. Raise it up about 4 feet above sea level, and that way we don't have to worry about anything. Actually, if we raise it up about 4 feet above sea level, it means all those dead bodies that we find, we won't have to bury. Just bulldoze the dirt over top of them. And,
Why not?
yeah.
Lay them out and just bury them. And
Yeah. Pick the pockets and take their money, take their wallet, take their clothes, but don't take the underwear. And,
gold and silver fillings.
yeah, gold and silver. And carry a pair of Lyman pliers, so if they have gold filling, you can recycle the gold, pull the gold out of their mouth.
Why not?
I'm bad. Have a drink, girl. Yeah, I'm going to before the night's over.
Me too.
I'm just an old dog with no place to bury my bones. Well, Washington, you got a lot of places to bury your bones down there. The only problem is the Democrats will come and dig them up and chew on them for a while. Just got the live stream notification. Oh, so the new stream is now sending them out, but 2 or 3 weeks late, I guess. And that's it right there.
Well, that message about the low video output has disappeared. So
Yes,
maybe
so-
it finally got fixed somewhere.
So it maybe finally got warmed up. So anyway,
We stopped jamming this.
I don't know which ones I brought down here. Okay, we'll do this again. Fun show down in Rocky Grove next weekend at the Rocky Grove Fire Hall, Franklin, Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania. So, see, look at that. Look at that. It couldn't have been better if I had a director. Is there anything you got on your chest you want to get off of? No tattoos or anything like
I don't
that?
have any tattoos at all. Not one. Not a single one. I mean, I could start with that one. That's what I'm doing.
Well, wow. I'm going to let Mr. T lead off.
I was reading an article today
Oh my, something new and different.
that the Democrats and their military army folks of Antifa are planning more mass sustained protests. Now, they did some in New York City and Los Angeles. Now they plan to do more, possibly beginning as early as October the 19th and continuing on October 26th, November 2nd, November 9th, and November 16th. And all those days are Saturdays.
So, side squirrel. When they're demonstrating, go to a gun show. Show your support.
Now, I remember a couple years back, Antifa promised, threatening, they would be attacking Republicans, white supremacists, and gun owners, and pretty much nothing materialized. And from my gather, they're planning to do the same thing, or try to, this year. Well, after all Republicans, especially those wearing the red Trump MAGA hats, and gun owners, and pretty much anybody else that disagrees with them. So, possibly starting as early as October 19th through the Saturday, November 16th, all those Saturdays in between, we're planning these mass protests nationwide. So, if you need more ammo, buy some. If you have a family member who doesn't have a weapon they can use, buy one now with the ammo, buy an ammo for it, and just. I don't think they're going to get that serious. I think it's more for show than anything else, or bluster, they used to say, but just in case.
They won't. I've seen what I've been seeing in the news about Antifa. They don't usually attack somebody unless they have at least a 5-to-1 superiority. Okay, just like the VC did over in Vietnam. They didn't attack unless they had at least a 5-to-1 superiority. Yeah. Plus the fact Antifa's not very well armed, if they are armed at all.
Well, some of them actually are. There are actually some guys I think that know what they're doing, but most of them are still the run-of-the-mill amateur hour.
Yeah, but folks. Anyway, wannabes. I found.
And I bet most of them have never fired a gun in anger, and I'm sure none of them have been fired on in anger. I know that feeling both ways.
Well, I've never been fired on in anger, but I did let one guy know that I was pretty upset with him when he was out deer hunting when I was a younger person. I was standing up. I'm dressed in all orange. Okay, I look like the giant pumpkin of the past. Okay.
You shouldn't have wearing antlers though.
I didn't have them on.
Okay, was it doe season?
No, it was deer season.
No, doe season. Was it buck or doe?
Yeah, it was buck season because that's what it was back then.
2 weeks of buck, 3 days of doe.
Yeah. So anyway, a shot go whizzing over top of my head, and I'm looking behind me to see what the hell he was shooting at, and I couldn't see a damn thing. Okay, and I looked down at him, and he's pointing the rifle back up at me. So I was in what looked like a foxhole. Okay, but it was an old windfall where the roots and the dirt of all thing on the side of the hill. So I dived into there and I hollered at him, "Hey, you done son of a bitch! You pull that trigger again, I'm shooting back, and I ain't gonna miss." That was the end of it.
Well, I think this year gun season will start the Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Yep, deer season, the first day of buck season starts the Saturday after Thanksgiving, like I said, and then there's 4 days of Sunday hunting coming into play, but I'm not sure when it is. My son was supposed to be checking it.
I haven't heard that. They were thinking about at least one Sunday, the middle of Sunday of deer season, but I haven't heard or seen anything to confirm that.
That's burning a little bit for some reason.
I know.
My voice is agitated.
Probably need it too.
It's another case where the Game Commission's can't figure out how to do anything else. So we're going to sit down there and we're going to make all these changes in the hunting seasons and the type of guns you want, but we're only going to do it for a certain number of days and all this kind of stuff, so that they can cross you up, so they can find you, so that they look like they're being justified in their existence.
Well, I think they have or will choose the middle Sunday of deer season because some people don't want to hunt on Sundays because that's family day. That's kind of a walk in the woods and be with nature, to commune with nature. They don't be shot at. Of course, if you're a good hunter, you won't mistake a person in the woods for deer. But then again, I think the other week, last week or before, a guy down in Georgia accidentally shot a teenager because he thought a teenager was deer. So, heard the noise, mind you, didn't positively identify his target. He shot out the noise and killed the poor guy. I think they're going to get him from manslaughter.
Basically, they try to claim that as an accident, and I don't classify it as an accident. I call that is really
responsibility.
Yeah, negligence of responsibility, severe, and it should be treated the same as any other crime. Okay, and if that guy gets sentenced to jail for the rest of his life, so be it. I have let a lot of things go through the woods because I could not identify them, especially when you had the buck season and the doe season when the deer were going through.
Yeah.
I could not necessarily put horns on them, but I was almost 100% certain. But it was that 1% that I can't not.
Yeah.
In that.
I know.
So, and I probably passed up a lot of buck.
That's one reason why, well, my in-laws opened up their farm to their people, so in the last several years I would just stay basically stand hunting. That way I could be up high and look down and be able to easier identify that noise. If I could, is that a person or a deer?
Yeah, it gives you an upper view to see past some of the bush.
It was actually, easier to see the orange from up on high, it's, 15 feet or so above ground level, than down below where you have a lot of vegetation. And amazing how bright orange can blend in with the fall colors, and you don't see a hunter.
I don't have the right list, but I have a list. I have a list.
Okay.
And your name's not on it.
Is that good or bad? Hopefully it's good.
Okay. Now that I found the list for the gun shows, I'm going to go over them real quick, and then we'll get back to
that list. Oh.
We'll get back to our stupidity. It seems to be flowing pretty good tonight. Anyway.
We'll just start drinking.
Next weekend, next weekend is Rocket Grove, which is the 19th and the 20th. The next week after that, October the 26th and 27th, Jack, is Ashtabula County Fairgrounds, Jefferson, Ohio.
I know Jack's listening. He's supposed to be camping this weekend again.
Well, he might have it out there.
Well, he might tune in afterwards.
Pantifa.
Oh, okay, Emily. I understand that.
Where?
Emily, they can't cannabis, but I want Pantifa to protest here so I can have some fun. I can understand what fun she wants to have.
Yes.
You test them with your deer rifle zeroed in or not for whatever you want.
Here's Bob. I have.
Luckily, what?
Luckily, it was a state trooper she missed. Whatever that means, probably somebody shot at a state trooper. Bruce Wayne, my friend, live streamed the impeachment Trump process DC today. It was pathetic. Only a couple hundred showed up. No Antifa, just a bunch of old senile communists. That's what's going on. You got that right, communist. But Antifa, even though they're claiming to be anti-socialist, are...
No, Antifa is anti-fascist.
Anti-fascist. But fascist is just a fancier name for socialist.
Well, if you look at
they're all the
communism, socialism, Nazism, fascism, they're all pretty similar.
Yeah.
A few changes, differences, but they're all pretty similar.
So anyway, getting back to the gun shows. I just did Ashtabula, Jefferson, Ohio.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Then November 9th and 10th, that's where I get a break, I believe. Yankee Lake Ballroom over in Brookfield, Ohio. That's on Route 7. It's about a 50-mile drive if I remember right. And it's a new show, but it's not. It was going. Yeah, it's been a while, and the people quit having it. And then this gentleman started having it and bringing it back. So I'm going back there. And then the 16th and 17th of November is
your favorite.
Hermitage, PA, Hickory Post, VFW. Yeah, Veterans of Foreign Wars. U.S. Route 62.
2 miles east of Route 18 and 9 miles west of Mercerboro.
Yes, that's 16th and the 17th. And then in December, the Harbor Creek Fire Hall Route US 20 in Harbor Creek, PA, Saturday the 14th and 15th. That'll be after deer season's all over.
So for you folks in New York, place to go there in December.
Yeah. And then the next one I have a couple more that I picked up, but I didn't bring them down here. Kearney Lake Sportsman's Club, Sportsman's Road, that's off of Route 18, Kearney Lake, PA, Saturday and Sunday, January the 25th and 26th. Now that takes care of that, and like I say, I have more. So I have another one coming up in February, and have another one come up in April that I'm putting on, so we'll get back to them. But I suppose now that we've spent all that time fooling around and getting scattershot all over,
Probably use some articles.
might want to do some news. That's from last week. You want to have some fun?
Yeah, it is last week. Let's put these over here out of the way.
If you want to have some fun, go to Kansas.
Why? Pray tell.
A SWAT team attacks over tomatoes, tea leaves. Okay. Is going back to court. The legality of a raid by police in Kansas of a family that was growing tomatoes and tea plants is going back to court for a third time. The lawsuit was filed by Bob Hart, a former CIA employee, and his family after they were confronted April the 20th, 2012. This is an old ongoing saga here. By Johnson County deputies with their guns drawn responding to criminal evidence. Quote, Hart had purchased hydraulic gardening supplies to raise the tomatoes and tea plants. But officers thought he and his wife, Adlin, were opening a drug ring, or operating a drug ring. Just because you bought hydroponic stuff to grow some tomatoes, you are now doing
They grow
drugs.
in their basement?
Yeah.
Okay. Heat lamps. I like this stuff.
Apparently, authorities misidentified the tea leaves. In other words, they don't know how to read tea leaves. If you're going to be busting somebody for growing marijuana, and you think the guy's got a tea plant, and you think it's marijuana, I think you better go back to school and learn what marijuana is before you go making any more busts. And or else quit smoking the stuff that you have confiscated. I'm not sorry. Just that thought came to me. The panel wasn't convinced that the officers properly executed their warrants against the family.
Gee.
We remand, said Judge Joel Carson III, of the following federal crimes: whether defendants' deputies properly executed a warrant, whether the deputies exceeded the scope of the warrant by searching for evidence of general criminal activity, and whether the deputies prolonged the plaintiff's detention, thus subject them to an illegal arrest. You can bet your bottom dollar each one of them officers ought to be sued. And the police department that's allowing them to stay on and function. Anyway, Courthouse News noted the officers were hunting marijuana growers when they mistook tomato plants and loose leaf tea for evidence of marijuana grow. Oh boy, this is getting funnier by the minute. After witnessing the plaintiff Robert Haight exit the hydroponics store, officers searched his family trash and found wet vegetation, tea leaves, which they wrongly concluded was marijuana. But wait a minute. Why would he throw wet marijuana into his garbage can? He'd be drying the marijuana out so he could smoke it. Or he was using it to extract the fluid and then dry it and sell it for a lesser, There's always some residue left. Anyway. The officers also failed to uncover the fact that Robert and his wife, Adrian, were former CIA agents with one parking ticket between them, and that Adrian really liked drinking loose leaf tea. Probably really good fresh tea, you know what I mean?
That's store-bought stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, better than that dried store-bought stuff. Well, anything's better than dried store-bought. But if you can't grow it yourself, make sure you don't have the hydroponics so that the drug agents will come and get you.
Fresh whole milk
Yeah.
from a farm instead of getting it bought from the store because it's much better for you than because it's not been homogenized and distilled and whatever else they did to it. Pasteurized, yes. All that stuff that makes it less desirable.
Yeah. The family sued the county, and a judge entered a summary judgment for the deputies. The deputies appealed, and the 10th Circuit Court sent the case back to the district court with instructions. Eventually, the jury rejected the Hart's $7 million claim, so the family was back at the 10th Circuit, this time arguing that some of their claims weren't heard. The panel now has decided to return the case to the lower court again to answer various federal claims about the warrant. It was Judge James Wingo of the Missouri State Highway Patrol. I'm sorry, not Judge. It was James Wingo of the Missouri State Highway Patrol who started monitoring hydroponic stores in 1997. He spotted the Harts buying plastic pipes and lamps and cited the purchase as probable cause. Officers' official paperwork recorded before the raid showed the investigation had pulled the family trash. What they found of interest was referred to as wet glob vegetation. As soon as we heard that...
I get the feeling the quality of police work has gone really downhill.
Yeah, as soon as we heard that, we knew it was my tea, Mrs. Hart said, referring to a loose-leaf Tervana brand tea she drank regularly. But it took over a year and $2,500 for lawyers to figure out what had happened. This goes along with the stupidity of police. I know there's a lot of good police officers out there, but you know what?
They're anxious to make the bus to get kudos for doing, hey, bus that, you know.
The thing
but
of it,
they're just jumping the gun and.
Thing of it is, they're anxious to get the bus, but they're not doing the proper investigation.
No.
Okay, preliminary investigation, even before the search warrants are issued. Okay, probable cause. That's the big thing. Giving them the right to probable cause. I could go in and I gotta fix the plumbing over here. I can go in by pipe. And because it's below ground, I don't get light to come in there, or underneath my basement, don't have light, I buy a super bright light to put in there so I can see what the hell I'm doing. He's growing marijuana. Probable cause that he's growing marijuana.
I think that's the same thing they're trying to do now with the gun owners. You buy a weapon, you buy ammo, he's a terrorist. Would-be terrorist, would-be criminal of some kind.
I got a heads up about something, the governor over in Ohio signing a bill, and I don't have the information, but it basically is something like a red flag bill. I will hopefully have the details next week.
I think it focuses more on mental health issues. And there are folks that took it that did not like it because it didn't focus on gun control and gun confiscation enough that they're liking it. I don't know all the details. But let me relate to this story. Once upon a time, many, many years ago, I was living in a different state, not too far west of here, and there was a drought during the summer. And it was forbidden that you will water your yards. Okay? No watering, watering. Okay? Now we had a garden. My wife took pride in that garden. And our garden was green, our garden bed, excuse me, were green and lush and flowering and being fruitful.
Fruitful?
Fruitful.
Oh, how dare ye?
And our neighbors were upset. And one called the local city government folks and claimed that we were violating the water ordinance and watering our plants. Well, we were, but not with a hose. My wife took when she was doing laundry, instead of taking the laundry, and getting rid of it as you normally would, so to speak, she emptied the wash machine into buckets. That nice phosphate-filled water. Plants like phosphates. And we hold them up, actually, I helped too, in buckets in the basement, outside, and watered our garden. We weren't violating any anti-watering ordinance that the city had passed. Of course, I know which neighbor did that. I did not take him to court. But they saw us with buckets, but they had no idea where we got the water from. They assumed it came from the spigot. Well, it kind of did, but not directly.
Well, indirectly, it came from the spigot, and you had to dump it somewhere. So why not get the benefit out of it?
And that's what we did.
Shows you how narrow-minded and blanked out people are. And getting back to here, this stupidity among the cops. I'm getting here. When the good cops stop supporting the bad cops, I'll believe you, Daryl. Until then, they are all bad. Oh, yeah. You are right. I'm just saying, you're right. Until they clean their ranks and get rid of the stupid, okay, or start refusing to carry out the stupid orders that they're given, you're right. They basically are all bad, because that means the good ones are condoning the actions of the bad. And you're letting bad apples spoil the whole barrel. So I agree with you 100%. Yeah, be sure to tell the communists to vote for Trump so they get 4 more years to impeach him.
Looking at the rules for impeachment and what it said, there's nothing there. It's all made up. It has been proven pretty much. It's all made up, and the Democrats are still trying to impeach him. Now, I like Trump. He's done pretty good things. I know he's done some really stupid stuff, but some of his anti-gun stuff I don't appreciate. But they're trying to do a valid election and wasting our money in the process. They should be concentrating on more governmental things that we need to get done. Instead of wasting our time, our tax dollars on nothing.
I forgot.
Oh no.
When I was talking about Pocahontas and this bit about inmates entitled to taxpayer-funded transgender surgery, I forgot that I pulled that story up.
Oh.
So would you like to be my guest and read it, to give my voice a chance to calm down some?
Okay, the title of the article is warned inmates entitled, quote unquote, to taxpayer-funded transgender surgery. Democratic presidential hopeful Senator Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, backtracked this week with regard to her feelings on taxpayer-funded transition surgery for transgender prison inmates, which means that she's bowing with the wind. That's what career politicians do, and we need to get rid of those. We need term limits. Anyway, but I digress. The flip-flop came on Thursday, the Daily Wire reported, when Warren was asked at CNN's LGBT town hall meeting, co-hosted by Human Rights Campaign and LGBT advocacy organization. But she regretted saying during her 2012 Senate run that transgender individuals will not receive transition surgery at no personal cost while in prison. wasting their time, the massive Democrat slash communist slash socialist forsook, wasn't it here? Her previous position, going so far as to say transgender convicts are entitled, quote unquote, to free sex change operations. Personally, no. Anyway, Senator, quick follow. Speak to your evolution on this, said CNN host Chris Cuomo. He's really a weirdo. So Warren said, in the 2012 campaign for Senate, you criticized a judge's decision that granted transgender-related surgery to transgender inmates. You said, I don't think it's a good use of taxpayer dollars. And it's not. And Cuomo continued, do you regret that? Warren replied, yep. And she did. It was a bad answer, the senator said. I think it was a bad answer, and I believe that everyone is entitled to medical care and the medical care that they need. If you can't figure out what gender you are, you don't need surgery. You need mental health. But let me conclude this. Anyway, she goes, that concludes people who are transgender who it is time for them to have gender-affirming surgery. I just think it's that important, she added. Gender-affirming surgery. Anyway. Democrat presidential candidate Elizabeth Warren says Americans should have their hard-earned tax dollars go to pay for prison inmates to go through transgender surgery. I strongly disagree. And I'm sure a lot of people do. My hard-earned tax dollars should go to running the government, not taking care of people who can't figure out who they are. Warren says that locked-up criminals are entitled to it. No. They're entitled to a room and 3 meals a day. When the Heritage Foundation compiled results from the most comprehensive long-term medical studies done on the topic in Sweden and in the U.S. in recent years, gender reassignment surgery was shown to have no impact in decreasing suicide rates or increasing long-term happiness among transgender individuals. In fact, I think some people have now regret they tried to switch their genders. Surgery, that is. In fact, the Swedish Karolinska Institute's 30-year study found that surgically reassigned transgender individuals in their research sample had a suicide rate 20 times higher than their peers in the general population. I suppose that's one way to get rid of them.
Maybe we ought to encourage it and stop contamination in gene pool.
Hard to spread it around. Anyway, this did not, however, stop Warren from advocating for the procedure as a valid medical solution for those with gender dysphoria? Okay. On one occasion, Warren took a question from 9-year-old Jacob LeMay, who was born biologically female but identified as a boy. It means to talk to that young girl and convince her that she is a girl, not a boy. She may be a tomboy, but she's biologically a female. Anyway, Warren pledged to LeMay that she would introduce policies to make elementary school transgender inclusive. Make elementary school transgender inclusive? Oh boy. Let's pollute their mind with more junk. Anyway. Okay. According to Daily Wire, Warren also suggested in a statement Thursday that one of her first orders of business as president would be to overturn the Trump's administrative policy on imprisoning transgender convicts based on their birth gender, or birth sex rather, than their preferred gender. Actually, it makes sense. If you're born male, you think you might be a female, you should be with the male population, because after all, you have something hanging between your legs, and just like everybody else does, that's a male. Identifies as a male. Of course, if they put those guys who think they're women in with women, will that cure their transgender problem? Maybe?
They might be wanting to try to plug something in somewhere, but
Anyway, to conclude, Ms. Warren says, I will direct the Bureau of Prisons to end Trump's administration's dangerous policy of imprisoning transgender people in facilities based on their sex assigned at birth. Dangerous policy? Yeah, this article appeared originally in the Western Journal. Back on, let's see. What was that? October the 12th. We have sick people, really sick people running for president.
yeah.
Was it down to a 19 or 18 now? I forget.
I'm just sitting here while you were reading that. I come up with a simple test. A simple litmus test for those who are confused about their gender.
Okay.
It's a unisex question or statement. Look down. You got one, you're a guy. You don't got one, you're a girl.
It makes sense to me.
I've been waiting to tell I forget who it was now about the fan. Yeah, we turned the fan off because it's chilly and I don't want to turn the heat on. So
The other thing that's on is the...
the heat coming from our transmitter is giving us plenty of heat. And I just saw a car slowed down going to our down in front.
Uh-oh.
Silverish gray color.
We step outside and see.
Yeah.
What it may be.
They may not even have pulled in, but I'm just saying.
I will.
You want to take something with you?
I have two things with me.
Oh, okay. You need to take something visible.
No, I can always do a flash like that.
Oh, he's a flasher. I don't know if anybody pulled in, but I'm just saying. When they go down real slow in front of this place, I kind of like to see if somebody's pissing around outside. And so Mr. T is doing his job and going out. And so while he's out there, we didn't take a break, and we probably won't. I'm going to try this week, now that I have the wife home from the hospital. I'm going to try this week to see if I can figure out how to get the music part of our show going again. And so just continue to bear with us and continue to spread the word about our show being back on. And
Other than your Jeep, there's nothing in the driveway.
Well, they were going slow right down here.
Well, before it got too dark, there were deer in the field over there. I saw them.
Oh.
So they may have been slowing down to watch them.
Yeah, could be.
To make sure they didn't jump in front of their car. I did that too. But now it's too dark to see.
We
across the road there.
Yeah, well, you didn't shoot anyway, darn.
No.
Anyway,
Didn't
you're
have
back.
to yet.
Since we were talking about trying to impeach,
yeah.
Trump, I have a story here. Gee, I wonder how come that happened.
I don't know.
What a coincidence. I don't know, is that a coincidence or not? Twilight Zone.
Probably planned.
Might be a Twilight Zone thing.
Welcome to the Twilight Zone.
Yeah. Travel through the time-space continuum.
Oh, speaking of Twilight Zone, remember the one, that race of big guys with the odd-looking heads and stuff? Went to the UN and they gave us a book called How to Serve Man. And it was finally translated, it ended up being a cookbook.
Yeah, I remember that, but
Okay, well remember our current lieutenant governor? Okay, big guy.
Has he been eating?
He actually looks like one of those guys.
Well, he does.
And he's not old enough to have been on the...
I don't even know what he looks like, because I don't...
He looks like a thug.
Well, they say he's a big, tall guy.
He is. He looks like he could have come from that episode.
Maybe he did.
He may be old enough though. He'd be too old. I mean, he'd be older than unless he's a descendant. Ooh, man.
But see, they may not age as fast as we do.
That's true.
Okay.
I can't think of his name.
Lurch? No.
That'll work. Maybe it was an ass. I can't remember. But speaking of that, he does not live in the lieutenant governor's mansion.
No, he don't.
No. So
He
because
gets day passes from
he
State Pen.
commutes from is it Braddock or North Braddock, where he used to be mayor.
Yeah.
So because he does not live in the lieutenant governor's mansion, it's going to be used for something else. It can be sold. Maybe given to the Pennsylvania National Guard, but it won't be apparently used anymore as the lieutenant governor's mansion. Was that the
Well, let me ask you something. Did you say he's still mayor?
No, he was mayor. I can't remember if it was North Braddock or Braddock, one of those two. But anyway, apparently, not one of the best mayors, I suppose. Some of the things I read when he was running for office. But actually, some people say, leave us, please. Go to Harrisburg. Stay away.
Well, that's what they tell everybody that's running for office.
Yeah, I know.
After they've been in the local politics, get them out of here. They're screwing it up.
He commutes. And I read somewhere he uses his own vehicle. He's not driven by state police in a chauffeured car. Of course, our governor doesn't live in the governor's mansion either. He lives in his own private residence. But so anyway, the state legislators are going to, I guess, do the final approval about selling the lieutenant governor's mansion, or have it be used for something else.
Does that mean when they get a new lieutenant governor that's from a different part of the state and can't commute, that they're going to have to buy a new mansion, or is he going to have to rent a teepee somewhere?
Probably a teepee rental someplace.
Yeah,
or
that's about all they'll give him for stepping.
Maybe a trailer.
Yeah.
A trailer park. Live among the common folk,
Yeah. So.
Ooh. What a concept.
To serve man with rice and wine spirits. There you go.
Spirits. Got spirits. Oh, wait a minute. There you go. Got some left anyway.
I don't think that's the kind of rice spirits you're talking about.
I just said spirits.
Rice and spirits.
I just said spirits.
I like the idea of rice spirits. Anyway, that was not spirits, it was wine sauce.
Wine sauce.
I'm sorry. I was poorly educated. I went to the public school system. And
for those who've never been to South Korea, if you ever go there, I think they still have a drink called soju, and it's part formaldehyde. So it'll serve you for a while longer. I know. It's been a while. I think 1979, last time I had it, I was over there and got drunker than I've ever been in all my life.
you mean it removes age spots?
Well, the South Koreans, the Korean, I don't know, the South Korean, a drinking custom called tipsy-da, where the host takes whatever and he drinks it, and then he fills the glass, he passes it, and it goes around here, goes to you, you drink it, you fill it, pass it across the table, back and forth, and it just keeps on going, and then comes back.
Hey.
So you have a number of those, and you will feel no pain. Well, at least for a couple of days.
Maybe I ought to get some of that. I wonder if they have that down at the state store.
I doubt it. I remember the next one we rolled out for Team Spirit 1979, and I just like, oh boy.
Well,
a couple of days later, I woke up and I was like, wow, my head, I feel normal again.
you felt normal again?
Well, everybody who drank a lot, actually one of the guys ended up in the hospital. He drank too much.
Well, based on what you're telling me, don't take much to be too much. Anyway.
I had a buzz of me lasted 2 days.
Well, I had a buzz that lasted a day and a half. That was several years ago when when Scott Grinnell was home on leave before being shipped to Germany to go over to Desert Dust 1. we decided to have a send-off party, my son and I and him. And we bought a half-gallon of Yukon Jack. And
How much is left?
I thought when I went to bed that, a gallon of Yukon Jacks about as tall as this bottle here, but twice as big, as fat.
Yeah.
Okay. It holds 2.5 fifths. Okay. And I thought when I went to bed that we left about that much in the bottle. Right? Similar to that. But when I got up in the morning and my eyes were clearer, there was only about that much left in the bottle.
Ooh.
Oh, and Scott woke up in the morning with a black eye, and my son was supposed to get up and go to school, but he went to bed and fell off the side of the bed and fell between the bed and the wall.
You a black guy too?
No, he was just out cold. So I says to Scott, well, let's go get some breakfast, because apparently my son has gone to school, because he is supposed to go to school. And we were watching Monday Night Football when this all happened. We come back home, and there's my son. And I said, what's the matter? How'd you get home? What do you mean, how did I get home? I never left. I said, well, I went into your bedroom to call you to go get breakfast, and I didn't see you. He said, that's because I was over on the other side of the bed up against the wall, following the crack.
You fell through.
I made a mistake. I made a mistake before going to McDonald's and getting up and drinking a glass of water. Okay. I drank that glass of water, and before I could put the glass down and take 2 steps, bam! Woo! Drunk as a skunk all over again.
But we all know that Scott made it overseas, right?
Yeah, he made it over there, and his commanding officer, when he reported in, wanted to know how I got the black eye. Were you fighting it or something? He said, nope. He says, I was at my buddy's house, and we were having a send-off party, and he says, I tripped and fell and hit my face on the couch, and I said, and my friend's son jumped on, piled on me, and then my friend piled on him. They did a gang pile. And but anyway, things you do when you're young, stupid, and drunk. Okay, where was I? What was I going to do now? Trump and the media. Trump and the media. Dun, 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 dun. Media talk, prison, treason, and death penalty for Trump. Communist News Network, CNN. Communist News Network. Democrats' effort to convict President Trump over his phone call with the Ukrainian president before allowing full venting of the evidence doesn't hold a candle to the media's campaign for the same. The Media Research Center, through its Newsbuster website, has posted a montage of media personalities already declaring the president guilty. For example, MSNBC. No, I ain't going to say that. Political analyst Elsie Jordan I can't pronounce the word, but it's drawing a blank from the message. Elicited from former Massachusetts Republican Governor Bill Weld the claim that the president is guilty of page 2. Treason, and the penalty for treason under U.S. Code is death. Jordan asked him to elaborate. What's the legal framework here, she asked him. Have you looked into this? How do you see this proceeding? NBC's Chuck Todd intoned, a national nightmare is upon us. Yeah, it's called the news media. The Democratic Party. Well, they're in cahoots with the news media. Yeah. The MRC report characterized the statement as insane reactions. The basic rule of our democracy, first of all, we're not a democracy, we're a republic. Constitutional limited republic. Democracy is what they used to be the former Soviet Republic of
Ukraine.
Yeah. Let's see. The basic rules for our democracy are under attack from the president, Todd said. The moment should arguably be a national emergency. The founding fathers would have considered it a national emergency if the president publicly lobbied multiple foreign governments to interfere with the next election and yet there has been virtually no condemnation from the president's party for all this remark, which is for all this remark, they didn't phrase that right.
If Biden and or his son are guilty of crimes, it doesn't matter if Biden is the senior is running for president.
All President Trump asked him, the president to do was to investigate to see if they were committing a crime over in Ukraine. Because apparently he got some wind of something. Whether it be because, hey, he's already been accused of getting soliciting Russian collusion into his campaign, which has been proven over and over again to be a pile of horseshit. The real ones who were soliciting was the Hildebeest, the Clintons, and the Abomination.
And Mitt Romney.
And Mitt Romney. The guy with the mitt on his hand, mitt. Anyway.
I know.
Where am I? I lost my... let's see, I lost it. Basic rules, this moment should arguably be a national emergency. The founding fathers would have considered it a national emergency if the president publicly
lobbied
multiple foreign governments to interfere in the next election, and yet there has been virtually no condemnation of the from the president's party for all the remarks, which was remarkable considering the president it would set and the lasting damage it would do to our democracy. Former CBS stands for crock of bullshit, news anchor Dan Rather
took the Communist Broadcasting System myself.
Well, that's the new one. Back when I was a kid, we called it the crock of bullshit.
Okay.
And NBC was the National Biscuit Company. And anyway, there's a big difference. What's different between what Richard Nixon did and what Donald Trump has already admitted to is this. It involves foreign power. I don't think it's a case of the president has out Nixon. He said Former Newsweek editor John McKeon suggested that there's a historical legacy, a historical halo for someone who says no more. MSNBC contributor Don Dutch said, "This is the big one. This is the Super Bowl, and the Democrats need to pounce aggressively. Go get Brady for your quarterback." Sonny Houston of ABC, and that's American Biscuit Company, by the way, The View said, "I think impeachment proceedings will unify the country. I think it will unite the country when Americans, like during Watergate, watch what the president has been up to, lining his own pockets for the good of himself and his family against what's good for the country." I'm sorry, he has more money he knows what to do with. He don't need to line his pockets. What a dumb... Baltimore Sun media critic David Zurich set himself up as a savior of the nation. "We are the last best hope between Trump and the imperial presidency."
Oh, please.
What the hell do you think Obama was? The reason you guys are crying so much is you lost the imperial presidency. Now you want to...
When did the press criticize Obama for all the crap he did?
They did.
I know.
They sat there and they kowtowed to him, and they, Oh, everything he did was just fine. Oh, okay. Oh, money, home. Oh, that's the wrong thing.
Wait.
Bow to Mecca. Bow to Mecca. Bow to Mecca. Let's see.
That's one thing I didn't like about being in Kuwait and Iraq was like 5 times a day you're in an eerie call to prayer.
See, they can do that over in foreign countries. They can have their towers. The Inman gets up there.
They're doing it in New York City too now.
Yeah, I know, but they can get up there and holler for the daily prayers. And now they're doing it in New York City, but if the Christian church were to do the same damn thing, they'd be slapped with fines and shut down and raided by SWAT and crucified and sent back to Africa on the boats that they didn't come over on. Back to, I'm telling you. Well, everything's gone weird in this country. There again. I think this is a short one. I'll let you do it.
Oh, okay. This is from the Western Journal, October 5th. Teacher put on leave for calling Confederate flag white trash. Ooh. A Georgia high school teacher is in administrative hot water after allegedly sharing a controversial message about the Confederate flag. The incident took place in Hebsbah High School, part of the Richmond County school system in the Augusta metropolitan area. Melissa Fuller blew the whistle on a teacher-led allegation after her daughter told her what happened on Monday. The teacher allegedly put a picture of the Confederate flag on a whiteboard with some accompanying text that read, "A sticker you put on the back of your pickup truck to announce that you intend to marry your sister." Think of it like a white trash save the date card. Okay. She found it offensive, so she sent it to me, and I asked me what I thought. Ford told the Western WRDW. I'm not sure what that is. I didn't see what that means. Anyway, Ford then shared the image on Facebook to see what other people thought. I didn't see it on Facebook. Now, a lot of this is not morally correct. It's unethical, Fuller said. It's just something you don't want to discuss today in today's world, and especially inside a classroom. Fuller said the context concerned her more than the picture of the flag. Why was it used, she said. With it being such a rough area, why would you put that out there with class discussion that could have turned very ugly? Fuller said the school was using a double standard. Her daughter had complied when she was told to remove a Confederate flag belt buckle that she had worn to school, but still received a suspension, she said. If she can't wear that belt buckle, then why is it appropriate to make an assignment out of it, Fuller said. The school district issued a terse statement and said a teacher was placed on administrative leave. The Richmond County school system is committed to create a diverse, equitable learning environment for all students, the statement said. The language used in the example was unacceptable and has no place in our classrooms. And again, this appeared originally in the Western Journal. So, once again, people do not understand what the Confederate flag stood for. White trash was not it. You may disagree about the Confederates and why they separated from the Union, but they had every right to do so. And from what I read, they legally did so under the original Article of Confederation and formed their own country, lock, stock, and barrel. And as far as a lot of people are concerned, we, the United States, and Abraham Lincoln invaded a foreign sovereign country. But a lot of people don't know that. But consider what Confederate flag white trash. A very, very stupid thing to say.
Absolutely. Well, but remember what we've been saying In order to destroy a country, you have to destroy its history and its heritage.
You got to change it to fit your
Yeah,
so-called facts.
yeah. So,
Communism, socialism tactics, yes.
remember when we were talking about how many Americans, or the percentage of the population was endorsing some form of socialism? And it was like 32%.
Yep.
I just saw a thing this week where they now say it's up to 40%.
I'm not surprised.
And that 40% of your fellow citizens in this country are supporting communism. When are you going to wake up? When it's 60% and they're knocking on your door telling you, hey buddy, you gotta give me your guns and your car, and oh, by the way, since you have 2 extra bedrooms, you gotta house these 2 immigrant families, illegal aliens from down in Mexico.
Not gonna happen.
So I'm just telling you, when the commies took over in Russia, they took all these people
They killed or
in.
imprisoned everybody who either physically or in writing or whatever voiced your anti-government opinion. Okay, so if you were lucky, you got the gulag. If you were not so fortunate, I mean, depending on your point of view, you got a bullet to the head.
But then they confiscated the houses of the rich because they were so big that they forced the rich to. They gave them 1 room in their place, and then the rest of the rooms were divided up to house the so-called poor. And probably one of them was a commissar for, depending on how big the building was, to make sure everybody stayed in line.
But commissars got the bigger places because
Yeah.
they needed
office
rooms,
space.
well, office space and rooms for their friends.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. In Vietnam, the commies were trying to take over every time whenever they were able to make any gains anywhere. What did they do? It's not just Vietnam, it's other countries too when they were fighting.
Let's see. Usually killed the village chief or
Yep.
or the mayor or whoever.
Whatever,
in charge.
and
and their families.
yeah, and teachers, and anybody that would have the knowledge to be able to speak out against them.
Oh, in fact, I just heard this week. There's a famous photo from Vietnam from the Tet Offensive, 1968, where he shows a South Vietnamese officer blowing out the brains of a.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay. And Mr. Walter Cronkite put that on his news broadcast with no background information as to why that happened. So most everybody gets the idea, oh, why are we supporting these people? They're just blowing people's brains up. The guy who was executed, he was actually by a South Vietnamese brigadier general. The guy who was executed was a North Vietnamese major who, with his gang of murderers, actually murdered a officer, Vietnamese officer, and his family, and had been caught. And he gave him swift justice. Now, had they published all that with the photo, people would have gotten the correct reason why this guy was blowing out this guy's brains. But
No, we can't do that.
This is what our allies are doing. They're just summary, executing people on the spot.
No, we wouldn't want to just, we got to plant this idea that the South Vietnamese are bad, so that we will pull out of there, so that the North can come in and take over.
And, of course, they also gave the news media the idea that we lost. The communists won the Tet Offensive. Farther from the truth than anybody realizes. We won. It was bloody, but we won.
The whole matter of the war is we won the battles. Okay. Some of the skirmishes we lost, yes, but the
major stuff we won.
The thing that brought the North to the knee was we were beating the shit out of them on the battlefield and bombing their supplies or their industrial might up in the North, and they could not sustain the losses anymore. So they were forced to sue for peace, which is what we were trying to do. The problem was when the I don't want to call it a treaty, but the ceasefire was called and signed. We told the South that if the North attacked you, we would come back. Well, after we got most of our troops out of there, the North came down across the DMZ, and instead of us bringing in the support that we were supposed to, we turned tail and run. That's because the fucking politicians, politicians were running the war and not the military. If they would have left the military alone, when the North come across the border, it would probably ended real quick.
Well,
And that. But
and I remember JFK was told he wanted to beef up advisors. He was told, do not bring in U.S. troops. And he got to the point he started withdrawing advisors. Well, and he gets assassinated for whatever reason you want to believe he got assassinated. LBJ says, I'll show them.
I'm head honcho now.
And he overruled the military. He overruled JFK's decision. And military deployed more and more troops, okay, and ran a badly run war, basically. And LBJ realized that we were losing too many people and not really winning the war. Now, it changed a bit under Nixon. But if LBJ listened to the same advisors that JFK had said we should not get involved with a war in Asia. We wouldn't have had the Vietnam War. We wouldn't have had 50-some thousand people killed needlessly.
Well,
but again, we our politicians, just like in South Korea, Korean War, they lost the will to win. And we have lost the will to win in Afghanistan. We're not doing those things that would enable us to declare victory and pull out. We haven't done it. We have not done it. And the longer we procrastinate, the more folks we're going to lose needlessly. I mean, the Soviets learned after 10 years they weren't going to win. They left. We're there at 18 or 19 now? We're losing folks we shouldn't be losing. We should realize, hey, the only people that win Afghanistan are the Afghanis.
Let them have it.
Let them kill each other off. And
we got plenty of our own sand, so if we need,
more.
if there's a shortage, we can dig up the coastline, the beaches, and melt sand to make glass. But yeah, you cannot go into a country with the idea of just fighting and not killing anybody. Okay? You can't go in with the idea that you're going to put your troops between two battling sides and figure they're not going to get hurt. War means one thing. War means kill more of them than they kill of you and destroying their ability to continue the war on. And with Vietnam and somewhat in Korea, that was lost by the politicians. I know Douglas MacArthur was called Dugout Doug
Yeah.
because of the Bataan fiasco in the Philippines. But on the same token, when he was fighting the North Koreans and the communists of North Korea, he had them all beaten to within 4 or 5 miles or kilometers, whatever the measurement you want to use, of the Chinese border. He wanted to be able to fly over the bridge and into Chinese airspace just enough to be able to bomb the target, because it's a lot easier to bomb a long target than it is to come in and try and hit a small target, narrower target. And he was told no, he couldn't do that. So before they could knock all the bridges out, what happened at Thanksgiving, because we took a break, because it was our holiday, the Chinese come over in mass.
Part of it was that the intelligence of Chinese was disregarded by too many senior officers.
Mm-hmm. That's usually where a lot of fiascos come from.
Well, the one thing that, when I was back in West Germany, back in the day, and I had become a field artillery intelligence officer, the G2 folks in the division I was assigned to all had this mindset that, okay, there were going to be these telltale signs of the Soviet Warsaw Pact buildup that's going to lead to an invasion of Western Europe, particularly West Germany. But having read a book on the Third World War, and, oh, wait a minute, here are these guys, they do this exercise, which, and the exercises, you know, the Russians do exercise, NATO sends observers, we do exercises, and the Russians are allowed to send observers. And the exercise is over, but there's a big delay in redeploying troops back to Mother Russia because they have another plan for those troops. And but the G2 folks were too political to accept anything but the accepted way of predicting. You know, they weren't going to say, no, this is not going to happen, can't happen, won't happen. Like, yeah. And I said, you know, I hope for your sake that, you know, it doesn't happen while we're here.
You know, that seems to be something I imagine happens in every country and every military. The people not paying attention to the intelligence that they've gathered. Custer, for example, back in 76. Okay, he had scouts out, and they reported I don't know how many thousand Indians over here, over there, everywhere. But yet, instead of continuing to take his Gatling guns, which might have saved him, he decided they were too cumbersome. That he split his column into three. He split his troops into 3 groups. So his particular group...
Actually 4. One was to stay with the supplies and the Gatling guns, small group, and the rest of them,
So anyway, he disregarded the intelligence that was gathered, split his forces, he got himself killed because of it.
But he also fell for an Indian tactic, which he had before had told his people to avoid. You know, when you see a small group of Indians and they're retreating from you, they're going to draw you in. Well, he wanted to prove that he could take on the Sioux and win. Mm-hmm. Okay, before General Terry and the rest of them showed up the next day. Because he was out for glory. Mm-hmm. Okay, so
he found it.
Well, he found it. Yeah, I remember him being stupid. And so he fell for the Indian trick, and then
oh shit.
We're surrounded by Indians.
Yeah, but
a lot of them.
But you have to pay attention to your intelligence, and if it don't look good, then maybe you should not have tried it at this time. Go in and regather the intelligence and see if you get a different type of reading. Then if you get a different type of reading, then what you need to do is go back in a 3rd time to see if you get a reading that matches either one of the first 2. Okay? If that don't work, then something is being done to mislead you, and you don't need to be attacking. You should be actually figuring out a defensive position, and that instead of sending your men into a trap, because they are setting bait to draw you in. And who was that? Sun Tzu in his Art of War always said, "Attack the enemy where he's not." And and then when you do attack, you don't leave any of them alive. And
well, in the movie, they were soldiers. Okay, based on a historical Vietnam event. Okay, they one platoon sees a couple of NVA, and they chase after them, and they find themselves, oops, we're now surrounded. We're pretty close to being surrounded. We're cut off.
Surrounded and cut off from whatever.
And they were all out for blood, and they fell for. I don't know that the 2 Vietnamese NVA planned that, or just happened to be something happened. But everybody went out there, and then this platoon is now cut off and surrounded by the enemy.
Well, it might have been a combination of 2 things. Number one, the first one was the NVA might have been in that particular position by accident, because they, you know what I'm saying?
Well, they knew we had landed there. Okay?
Yeah.
The Americans landed there.
Okay, so they were
bringing in people.
They were bringing people in to respond to our landing. Now, like you said, they had a couple of scouts out, or pickets, whatever you want to call them, and one of them took off. They went after them, got led into a basic trap, and got cut off from the rest of the troops.
A number of days.
Okay, and whatever happened, happened. Okay, and it's not necessarily the failure of the ground commander in the field, but the civilian advisors that were setting them up to go in and do whatever it was they were going to do. And but I'm going to say that the lieutenant commander of the platoon probably didn't listen to other people who were vets and been there before, and said, "This is a trap. Don't chase after them." And but we can sit back and second guess everything that's going on, but the fact of the matter is, we've gotten to the point where you don't listen to those who have been. Of course, we're now in a generation of people that have not fought in an all-out war. Okay, it's just been sanitized. Surgical strike. We're going to operate. You will get doctor's diploma when you get done if you should live and have all your fingers and toes. Okay, but you don't kill nobody. You may break their house, but you don't kill nobody. And but that's what it's alluding to. War today is becoming more like the games that they're playing out there on the computer.
I know.
Okay. And it's all fictitious. We aren't hurting nobody. We're doing surgical strike. We're just going to cut your house apart.
When you change the rules of engagement, well, okay. In Afghanistan, okay, we can't fire upon somebody with an AK-47 or other weapon unless they fire at us. I mean, if they point the weapon at us, it used to be, okay, we'd shoot them. No, can't do that anymore. You know, we have to wait to actually pull the trigger and somebody on our side gets hurt or killed. Now, maybe they changed it since Obama left. I haven't heard anything different. But, and then we get it's not a war on terror. It's you bring the FBI in, they do fingerprints and other forensic evidence stuff. This is a war to kill the enemy.
Well, I got a story about a presidential candidate.
Who could that be?
Humvee Democrat. Damn, I wouldn't have known that. I could have never guessed that in a million years. Julian Castro, current Democratic president candidate hopeful, former mayor and one-time member of Barack Obama's administration, on Monday escorted 12 migrants at the Texas border illegally across the national boundary into the United States.
She was arrested.
Okay, you want to talk about treason? You want to talk about smugglers? Okay, he is a dope. So
he was shot trying to escape justice.
Yeah, he was going over the fence. Well, there ain't no fence there. Well, there will be in a minute.
Actually, we need a two-layer fence system with more concealed wire, and then a minefield between the two fences.
Yeah. That sounds good. Being done about every 200 yards, so you have an overlapping tower with 3 M60 machine guns.
I was thinking with a drone, armed drones, and artillery batteries in position that could cover, a few kilometers at a time.
See, I forget, what's the range of 105?
Yeah, you wouldn't do 155. You get several, you got 18, 20 kilometers easy. 30 kilometers, I think, with the rocket.
Well, then what we do is we put a line of artillery about
your HC variable fuse, exposed in the air.
What we do is
or DPICM, we'll bomb them down, blow up in the air.
What we do,
hand grenades.
So we're not interfering with the international border. We come in 5 miles and put a line of batteries all the way across this country. And every day, the guys have to go out and fire 1 round for practice. Okay?
I think they clear the whole border.
The target for their practice is 10 miles inside the Mexican border.
I think the whole border need to clear an FFA, free fire area.
Yeah. Anyway, he set the stump up. The stump? He set the stun up to protest Trump's efforts to secure America's borders from illegal entry.
So he's against us Americans. He's for illegal.
Well, he's a traitor. He's a traitor to America, and he's in violation of his oath of office. Well, he's not in the office now, but he's once sworn, always sworn, unless you are decommissioned and that, or debriefed. But within hours, the 12...
I'm retired, but my oath of office still stands.
I know. When I was given a medical discharge because of my knee, instead of being classified 4F, I was classified as 1Y, which meant I was subject to call in national emergency. Yeah, recall.
So am I.
Yeah.
By presidential decree, you have to be.
But within hours, the 12 all were back. It should be all 12 were back in Mexico, and the result was that all that happened was a little publicity for Castro. Bad publicity, because if he should pull out the Democratic nomination, I wouldn't vote for that son of a bitch if he walked across the street.
Didn't Roger Francis, all I know is Beto O'Rourke, try something stupid like that? Yeah. Across the border? I'm trying to think. Tell me if he did.
I couldn't tell you because so much happens I can't keep up with it all. We just heard the terrible news that all 12 of our clients, escorted by Julian Costello, yeah, that's right. Castro was sent back to Mexico. This is, of course, a mockery of due process. The Texas Civil Rights Project announced on social media. The 12 asylum seekers are attorneys, advocates, and Secretary Julian Castro escorted to the Gateway International Bridge of Matamoros in Brownsville,
Texas,
this morning, have been sent back to Mexico. Well, that's where they came from. We want to
airdropped?
I don't know, probably not. Well, if it was, I hope they didn't have a parachute. That way, when they land on their heads, they just add some fertilizer.
You take the C-130. They do the low altitude parachute extraction system. All I know is LAPE. Say, okay, guys, when you hang on this crate, we're going to do a parachute. Run in low. The chute pops out, drags the platform out, and they just kind of slide.
Slide right out.
The platform comes out and hits the ground.
Make sure you put some grease on it, so we wouldn't want them to blister their ass as they went.
I've seen it done in their town. It's a great system.
Yeah. That action was the result of a new practice by the Trump administration to allow those who want to seek asylum in the United States to apply, but wait outside of the U.S. borders while their situations are evaluated.
We don't want to take care of them.
Yeah, that's right. Twitter, social media aggregator Twitchy said, "Oh well, Castro got the photo he needed." The commentary pointed out that all 12, a group of LGBTQs, MODC. Uh-oh. Yeah, how'd that happen?
Oh, my. Good question.
It's crying for action.
I guess. Oh, I know why. I bet when I stabbed the bag in there, I didn't put it right. There you go. Yeah.
Hey, where was I?
Yeah. I'm sure you didn't click on that.
The Los Angeles Times explained walking across the bridge with Castro were 9 gay and lesbian asylum seekers from Cuba, Guatemala, and Honduras, as well as a deaf Salvadorian woman and her 3 children. There was no explanation for the Times' assertion that there were 13 asylum seekers and that the Civil Rights Project statement that all 12 were returned. Well, I'm not going to read the third page. It just goes on about a bunch of bullshit. you have a Democrat who does not pay attention to our
Laws.
laws,
Broke 'em.
and you think you want to try and put him as El Presidente.
Oh, gee.
Where is your mind? They figure we don't matter. They have no mind and figure we didn't mind them not having a mind. But I got a mind for them.
I minded they have no minds and they have no business.
Well,
being president.
we got enough problem with the LGBT bastards in this country now as it is. We don't need to import more. Number one. Number two, apparently they're fleeing their country because those countries aren't putting up with that kind of shit.
What was it? Last week or week before, there was a lesbian couple who went, for some reason, went to Kuwait. Now, Kuwait is a Muslim country. Been there a few times. And these folks could not control themselves and were arrested. I don't know if they're still in prison in Kuwait or if they've been released or not, but if you're of the mental midget persuasion, LGBTQ, MOUC, don't go to a Muslim country. You might get arrested. You might never get out. You may end up being killed. Just word
Daryl,
advice.
you were in the studio, whatever that means.
What was that saying?
It says, Daryl, you were in the studio, whatever that means.
Man, what's that?
Okay.
Oh, rats with duct tape and turn them into bomb wrecks. Okay.
Yeah, they would probably be executed if they were stayed in their country. But that's not my problem. That's their problem. They need to get their mind straight. They got to figure out who they are. And like I said, the litmus test that I described comes in. Look down. If you got something hanging there, you're a guy. If you don't, you're a woman.
Well, actually, you need to look down and bend over because some people might be too wide.
Wide across the beam?
Yeah.
Battleship wide?
May have to bend over more to be able to see. Or play touchy-feely and find out for sure.
They bend over and you get a double moon.
Uh-oh. Or they might lose their balance and fall face first in the ground. Oops. Who said that? Oh.
Oh, I must have made some statement I missed. Don't remember.
Yeah, studio. I think studio?
Where am I? And you're in the studio.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, actually, they're kind of how big is this box?
Well, I'm glad I was in the studio, and I'm glad you found me, because now I have an alibi for whatever I did when I didn't know I was here.
Okay. I'll witness.
And that's just what I need for a witness.
I plead the fifth.
No, we just about drank it all.
Oh, that's right. Never mind.
Maybe pee the fifth, but
I should probably do that before I got home. You water your weeds out there.
what do you think I would lie to you? No, I just don't know where I went. If you tell me I was in the studio, then I was probably in the studio, but
Was I with him?
Mr. T wants to know if he was with me.
I think I was. I think it was you. It was like you anyway.
I don't know. The way things have been going.
You got a double ganger?
What's that?
You got a double ganger and somebody looks just like you?
Well, somebody said I had a twin brother somewhere. But it couldn't be because my mom and dad only had me. Besides that, God threw away the mold.
I know when I was in Europe, there was another officer battalion that we wore our black Army issue glasses. We looked like twins. And we were mistaken for each other.
My younger brother has been quite often accused of being me. Okay? They're mistaken for me.
Yeah.
And when we're at the gun shows and somebody says something to us, and I said, yeah, we're twins. I was born 4 years before him.
You had a long pregnancy. He didn't want to leave. It's nice in here. I want to get out. Don't force me out.
Jones is going hasta la vista, folks.
Yeah,
Hasta la vista, baby.
It's that time for us to do the same thing.
Yeah, you know, it's about that time, too. Hasta la pasta. Good night, my friends. Have a great week. Keep safe and no fear.
Have no fear.
Have no fear, for I am here. And I'm not in the rear with the gear.
I'm here, you're there.
No, I'm here, you're there. Maybe neither one of us are here nor there. Maybe neither one of us. Maybe neither one of us are here nor there. Yeah, I thank you for listening tonight, folks. Like I said, spread the word through your emails, through your Facebook, or through your Twitter to let people know, because I'd like to have more than just a few of you. I know Sunday night's probably a bad night, but almost any night's a bad night. And I don't want to do it in the middle of the week because you got school night for a lot of people. So,
of course, it's football season. They might be watching the.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to go up and see if the Steelers can put together another loss.
Well, I'll say the Bengals lost, I understand. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, well.
The only game. No, yeah, Bengals lost, so they're
5-0 or 0-5.
Or no, they may go
0-6.
0-6.
Yeah, the only.
The Jets lost, I think.
Yeah.
I think there's 3 or 4 teams that are 0 and something.
Yeah.
At least 3 anyway.
The Steelers are 4-1.
1-4. No, 1-4.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
1-4. They could be 2-4 or 1-5. I don't know.
Well, it just depends on which way you flip the numbers.
Yeah.
1-4.
Of course.
4-1.
Of course, Kaepernick volunteered to be the quarterback for the Steelers. He's unavailable because they're playing a third string quarterback.
If they were to have picked him as a standby quarterback, I would never watch another fucking football game in my life. Regardless of whether I like the Steelers or, that's basically, the last couple of weeks I've been watching, become totally disinterested in games within the first half. So I go and play on the computer and go down through and check all my emails and check to see what the headlines for the day were. And then I go to, you just throw things around all the time, don't you?
Yeah, I got caught in a piece of paper.
I take and go to inbox dollars and do my thing there, making some money. Oh, usually about 25 cents a day, but that's all right. I'm 25 cents a day I didn't have.
Everybody signing off here?
Yeah, everybody's going. I think, well, some of them are hanging on because we're still blabbering. Oh. Okay, folks. Nighty-night.
Night-night.
Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite, and we will be here next week. Okay, now we do
microphone.
this.